Here are 5 tricks all good warlocks know in D&D. Free spells. Who doesn't love free stuff? We're warlocks. We literally made a deal with Satan for 1 free cantrip. We've also got fewer spell slots than a possum wearing a wizard's hat, so yeah. Warlocks love spells they can cast for free. Warlocks get fewer spell slots because they get a ton of other awesome things instead. Invocations, a thicker booty of hit dice, and some armor proficiencies, for example. And of course, your spell slots regenerate after a 1-hour nap, so this is basically a balance thing. But who wants to be balanced? We want to be powerful. If you can find a way to cheat on this 2 spell slot limit, you're gonna have all the benefits of being a warlock and still be rocking a bunch of castable spells. That's where things get crazy. To start, you want to be looking around for any races or feats that get you free stuff. Air Genasi getting Levitate, Fairies getting Enlarge Reduce, Yuan-Ti getting Suggestion. These races are golden, giving us options that don't use our precious spell slots. Then there's a ton of feats that do much the same thing. Magic Initiate, Fey Touched, Shadow Touched, and Aberrant Dragon Mark all give us a juicy 1st or 2nd level spell we can cast each day. Then some races can also give powerful spell-adjacent abilities, like the Dragonborn's Breath Weapon or the Eladrin Elves' Face Step. However, the real superstars in this spell-cheating concept are the feats Ritual Caster and the Invocation Book of Shadows. Both of these do essentially the same thing. They let you cast ritual spells. If you can cast rituals, you get a ton of spell utility at no spell slot cost. Alarm, Detect Magic, Find Familiar, Phantom Steed, Rary's Telepathic Bond. You're going to be casting all day, every day, and the power of these spells is real. Combining all these tactics will have you casting more often than your party's wizard, while still having all the other warlock benefits. This includes not dying when a kobold sneezes at you, which is something other spellcasters really struggle with. The Eldritch Gun. Remember when I said you sold your soul to Satan for a cantrip? Well, that wasn't a joke. Eldritch Blast is the center of 99% of warlock builds. At level 10, you have 2 spell slots. At level 10, a wizard has 15. The only way to survive that level of inequality is to get yourself a fucking demon gun. That demon gun is Eldritch Blast. It's a cantrip, so it doesn't cost a spell slot, and you're going to be casting it all the time. That means getting the most out of each casting of Eldritch Blast is a huge part of what makes Warlocks effective. These weapon upgrades come in the form of invocations. Agonizing Blast lets you add your Charisma modifier to your damage rolls of Eldritch Blast. With maxed out Charisma, which you should basically be speedrunning to, this is effectively doubling the damage output of every shot fired. Seriously, if you don't take the Agonizing Blast invocation, it's probably not worth playing a Warlock at all. I mean, maybe if you're a melee-focused Hexblade Warlock, you could get away without it. But even then, it's dicey. And there's already enough dice in this ridiculous game. Lance of Lethargy lets you kneecap enemies with your Eldritch Blasts to reduce their speed, and Grasp of Hadar and Repelling Blast let you push or pull enemies when you hit them. Force movement is always fun in D&D. Of course, all the Eldritch invocations are badass and have great uses, but you do need that Agonizing Blast. It turns your handgun into a rocket launcher and it's powered by sex appeal. What more do you need?
Dude, I know you said you were getting super into Monk Pack, so I brought a pack of monks with me and they're right here. Here's beloved electronic band Daft Monk. Bonjour. Here's a man who was just arrested for monk driving. Oh God, I killed someone. Here's a MILF, aka a monk I'd like to stop. I was talking about Monk Pack. I was looking for a healthy, low-calorie snack after I overdosed on sugar 3 times last week. Oh. These PB and chocolate nut and seed bars are plant-based, keto-friendly, and taste amazing. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, it tastes so good. Yum, yum, yum.
Monk Pack is the perfect snack for anyone looking to cut down on sugar or carbs without sacrificing flavor. And with a 100% guaranteed refund if you're not satisfied, you can try them right now, completely risk-free. Get 20% off your first purchase of anything from monkpack.com with code D&D Shorts at checkout by following the link below. Scaling spells. Alright, so here's the thing about Warlock Pact magic. Any spell you cast is always cast at the highest possible level. If you cast the first level spell, Armor of Agathis, while you're level 5, it is going to be cast as if it were a 3rd level spell, and you can't do it any other way. This means that when you choose your spells, you're going to want to pick spells that get better when they're cast at higher levels. Example, at level 1, you grab the spell Unseen Servant. It's a cool spell, gets you an invisible slave. Great for foot rubs or stealing things. However, this spell does not get better if you cast it at higher levels. Whether you cast it at level 1 or level 9, it does the exact same thing. That means that by the time you're in the big boy magic club at level 9, say, you're trading a 5th level spell slot to cast a 1st level spell. That's a pretty rough deal. Instead, you could pick a spell like Charm Person. This forces a wisdom save on a humanoid to be your friend for the next hour, so can also be used for foot rubs. But also, for every spell slot above 1st you cast Charm Person, you can target another person with it. This means it's great at level 1, you're still getting your value there, but it's still really good at level 11, allowing you to mind slave a whole party of best friends for an hour at a time. This philosophy is what makes picking Warlock spells so much fun. You get to consider both the short-term and long-term value. Flock of Familiars, Mirror Image, or Misty Step might look like really cool options to take at level 3, but they don't scale. They're going to be completely outclassed by later spells you pick up, which means that by level 7, you might as well not have them. But Hold Person, Shadowblade, and Invisibility are still great spells at level 3, and they scale. That makes them powerful assets in your toolbox, even at level 20. Damage Addiction. Damage spells are badass. Shatter, Mind Spike, Genie Warlock Fireball. It's war crime time! Hell yeah! No, it's a trap. Casting leveled spells to just do a burst of damage is not where you want to be. Sure, Fireball is awesome, but you're burning a spell slot, of which you only have 2 for most of the game, to deal 1 burst of big damage. But here's the thing, you already have the best damage option ever, Eldritch Blast. At level 5, Agonizing Eldritch Blast is dealing 21 average damage to a target on a hit. That's epic. And sure, big area of effect spells like Fireball are great for bashing a bunch of weak nerds at once. But when it comes to facing off against more powerful enemies, your magical arts need to be more subtle. If we can get multiple turns of damage and power out of a single spell slot, that's going to be way more impactful. It's also more fun to play, rather than blowing your load in 2 puffs of smoke and then begging for a short rest for the next 4 hours. Spells like Fear and Hypnotic Pattern don't deal damage, but they can wipe multiple enemies off the map for multiple turns, giving your team time to slaughter all their buddies. Summon Fae, Undead, Shadowspawn, or Lesser Demons stick tons of bodies on the board that can deal crazy damage over the course of a battle, as well as soaking up your enemy's attention. Then there's Hunger of Hadar and Sickening Radiance to set up massive zones of death on the battlefield, and Fast Step and Shadow of Moil to protect you and let you fire off Eldritch Blasts in advantageous conditions. All of these spells open up a world of mayhem and mischief for you to explore, and will probably go a lot further than a one-off area of effect blast. Also, most of them are concentration spells, so getting a really good con save is important. You can do this with the Eldritch Mind Invocation or the Warcaster feat, but maybe the best way is multiclassing. Did you ever hear that Hexblades are the most powerful multiclass in the game? Yes, of course you did. Everybody has heard that. You probably also heard that multiclassing Warlock and Sorcerer can lead to the famous Coffee Lock combo. This can give you a massive boost in available spell slots, potentially infinite spell slots if you really spec into it. These tricks are cool enough, but there are other Warlock multiclass options out there. If you really want to go off script, consider Warlock Barbarian. The idea of this build is to focus on long-term, non-concentration spells, like Armor of Agathis, and then Rage, and then rip people's heads off like it's going out of style. Your Eldritch Blast also gives you some tasty ranged capabilities, patching up a big weakness of most barbarians. I talk about this build in my underrated but awesome multiclasses video, link up here. Coffee Lock aside though, the Sorcerer multiclass really is great. Taking your first level in Sorcerer gives you proficiency in con saves and a bunch of extra cantrips and first level spells. This lets you grab some of those juicy early level spells without worrying about them scaling, because you have a couple of Sorcerer spells to burn. Shield, Disguise Self, or Silvery Barbs are great options here. Plus, Sorcerers, like Warlocks, get their subclasses at level 1, giving you a ton of customization and power right from the get-go. I like Divine Soul Sorcerer for some cheap healing spells, and Draconic Ancestry for extra AC and a damage resistance. If you take Sorcerer up to level 3, you get the Quickened spell Meta Magic, turning you into an Eldritch machine gun. With Quickened spell, you can jam Eldritch Blast up to 6 times a turn by level 11. Multiclassing with your first level in Fighter also weirdly offers some similar benefits. It nets you proficiency in your con saves, and by level 2, you can action search for a big damage boost. You also get way better armor, letting you ditch decks entirely and becoming basically Demon Robocop. If you want to support these videos, join in D&D games I run, get access to over 50 maps, over 300 pages of supplemental content to improve your home games, and a ton of ready-to-play adventures, check out the Patreon linked up here or linked down there. Also, remember to like and subscribe and check out other videos on the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.